Hello, and welcome to the stream. Today we are doing something a little bit fun. I was talking the other day to somebody about job platforms and how there isn't anything specific to a back-end developer, which is, quite strange. You go out there, you see, get your React job here. Yeah, no thanks. I'll stick to back-end. So I'm going to build one for fun. I might release it, might not. We'll see. I've called it DigiHire, stands for digital hire. It is a back-end focused job platform where it doesn't have a UI. You access all of the jobs and all the information and interact with it through an API because we're back-end developers and it's what we do. So hello everyone in the chat. Hello. Let's get started. So I've already started. I won't lie. I have started. So we've got the ability to log in. We can fetch our profile, and the server's not running because I had to update PHP Storm. So fetch my profile, Steve's with Google, whether I'm available for work or not. And when I created my account, I can also update and say, actually, I am available. And that is all good. And that's as far as I've got so far. I'm using SQLite. So if I just come over to view tool windows, let's go have a look at the database quickly. I haven't even connected the data source. That's how little I've done. So SQLite, let's connect all of this up. GitHub, me, DigiHire, database, open. So let's connect all of this up and let's go have a look. It is JSON API spec, yes, indeed. So far, model-wise, we've got companies, job titles, positions, and users. So the idea here is that a user registers, whether they're available or not. They can then create a company, or create Treble, for example. We can go see Treble, who owns Treble. I'm the hiring manager for Treble, for example. We can look at the job titles. We've got full stack software engineer as a job title. Then positions, we have got a name. So that's like more of an internal name and what will be displayed. So you're hiring for a specific role, but you might call it something different. Yeah, my front-end colleagues hate me. We got a status, whether it's open, closed, draft, what type of role it is, where the location is, a bit of a description, salary information, the company, the job title, and the user. So it's all relatively kind of basics. It's super basic. So what we're going to do is we are going to start. And let me leave distraction mode or presentation mode because it always just doesn't look nice. Good morning. From Belgium. Yes, I will be picking that back up again. There's probably going to be policies in this also, so do not fear. The first thing we want to look at is our routes. So how I've organized my routes is, let me make sure it's zoomed in enough. Font size, we're gonna go up to 21. No, appearance. Let's go up to 22, apply. Wow, that's huge. Okay, that should help. So as you can see in my routes folder here, I've got API and sockets. I like to split my routes out like this. Just collapse that down. So what I end up with is I have my main routes file in here. I can load in my auth routes and then my V1, and then later on, if I wanted to, I could create my V2 and it's all nice and clean, all separated, and it just works. Yeah, I use command and scroll. Woo! So we've got a root profile, as profile, and we're going to group all of that under V1 profile. So here's the profile root, all very separated. It's all set up in my provider, my root service provider. Here is this. Let me just put that as static. And we literally, all we're doing is loading roots from Roots API routes. Sockets all handled through the broadcast service provider. I always remove the console command loading in here from the roots file. I never use it, so I delete it. And yeah, so let me just walk you through what I have. We have got our models. We've got a user, relatively straightforward. I haven't implemented the must verify email. We'll get around to that. Has ULIDs. I like ULIDs. I think they work for APIs. UUIDs are cool, but as a name. So I use as when I'm talking about a group, and then when I'm talking about a specific route, I will give it a name. So as is great for everything within here. Apply this prefix, basically. So turn that off. As returns from the root registrar, and let's go look at as. It's not going to let me go through to it, but yeah, basically it allows it. I think you could probably do the same thing, but it works for me. It's my way of understanding the naming pattern. Like if I come over to Artisan quickly and a root list except vendor, I can see that I've got V1 profile show, V1 profile update, auth login, everything is exactly as I'd expect it. So our user, email verified, password hashed. That's something new that I noticed in the latest version of Laravel, is that they've introduced this hashed cast. I don't know specifically what it does because I've only just seen it in this. Companies, a user can have many companies. There might be a hiring manager for a couple of things. Who knows? Positions, they could be the hiring manager on a certain number of positions. So the difference between a user having many companies and a user having many positions is that they may, I'm eventually going to build out like a team structure when I can be bothered, obviously. And then a position will probably belong to a team instead of a company. So that'll be a refactor later on. But the idea is that, let's say I was in a team of 10, if my front-end developers might have someone else as a hiring manager, in which case they would own that position, but I might be the owner of the company. So it's, that's it so far. So job titles are really simple. There aren't timestamps because it's just a meta thing. Positions, company belongs to a user, and a company has many positions currently. Might add membership to this instead of teams eventually, might work well. And then a position itself. So name, status type, location, description, salary, company, job title, and user. So status is simple. It's, is it a draft job, an open job, a closed job? Have they paused it? Have they already hired, or are they in the interview process? Position type, full-time, part-time, internship, apprenticeship, trainee, contract, and freelance. Why do we need versioning? Because versioning's best practice for API, basically. Hello, cat. And then salary. All I've done here is wrap up basically my own data object, which has brick money for the amount, and then the salary frequency is another enum for annual, monthly, weekly, daily, and hourly, so that they can declare like this is $10 an hour, or this is $50,000 annually, or $10 a month, or we got a lot of flexibility within that one. So that's literally all I've done from a routing perspective. I have got my login controller. All I'm doing here, I've not refactored any of this, so it's raw as anything. Is I get the first user. If the credentials are incorrect, then I'm just going to throw a validation message, and then I just create a token for that user. I'm just passing in the IP right now. I'm going to look at something else later, and return a token response, which has a new access token, and it just returns a nice standard JSON response in this format. There's my login controller. Then in profile, we've got a show. Nice and simple. It's just going to get the logged in user. We're going to return a model response, which could be a JSON resource or a JSON API resource. That's going to return a profile resource, which is formatted like this. And then it's going to run this query where we get the auth factory, and we're just going to say, okay, get the logged in user, find or fail. Done. That's it. Yeah, good question there, Kat. Who's that question for, Benjamin? Oh, me. I'm absolutely loving the new job. Treble is so fun to work at. I'm working with APIs daily, and I'm focusing on, all interesting stuff. Helping the dev team, doing live streams. This is part of my day job, so I don't have to do it in an evening now, which means I get more time with the wife. And it's all about APIs, and it's a cool product. We literally just launched a new product feature. So if we come over and look at the requests, for example, this part here is new. Wait a minute. If I just pop that out, I should be able to draw on this. Oh, Arc is ready to update. I can't remember how I draw on it. There's a way to draw on it. New easel. Oh, no, I didn't want that. Delete the easel. Yeah, delete it. That isn't what I wanted to do. Let's just come back and we'll focus on what I'm doing. So this part here, where my big mouse is hovering, this is the security threat level for a specific request and user. So if I come through to view the request, I've got my usual parameters, any authentication, any documentation that's being built, and all of the headers being passed through. Same thing with the response details with the headers. Nothing major going on there right now. Security audit. This is the new feature that we've been working on, which is really fun. Is SQL injection. We're passing. IP reputation, we're passing. Authorization, we're passing. We're failing on the secure connection because I'm running a local server. I'm not too fussed about that right now. We're passing on the IDs versus UIDs for kind of security purposes. This is all generated from ChatGPT, by the way, for each request, so it's kind of fun. Also passing on the rate limiting, content labeling, MIME sniffing, forcing a secure connection. I'm failing on the embed aspect for the X-frame options, but to be honest, because this is JSON, I wouldn't need an X-frame option. I could probably put it in there. But yeah, security policies, this is CSP. I haven't got around to adding a package for that yet. And I'm also failing on the method limiting. So allow header inform to client about the HTTP methods that are allowed by the API endpoint. So what I probably want to do is, if I come over to this, if I just do a fetch profile, look at the headers, I probably want to do some sort of allowing on this. So let's have a look at how we could create that middleware first. So make middleware, yeah, I can't spell today. Middleware API allow middleware. So we're going to create that one, and let's just go and open that one up. So what I'd expect here is methods say that response is there. What we're going to do though is, yep, that's the right response. So we can var response as response. Eventually we're going to return that response. And what we want to do here, ooh, so many typos today. So we want to get the response, get the headers, and we want to set the key of accept values. Is it implode? I think it's implode. Implode. The separator that we want to add is a comma. And the array is, I suppose, method. Is that going to come through as an array? That's a good question. Let's have a look. Let's try it out. So in my kernel down here, I've got some set by default. So now I can just add the allow middleware. Come over and let's just restart this server in case it needs it. Serve. Come over to here. Actually, no, that's not what I want to do, is it? I want to delete that. Down in roots, I want to be very specific. So on profile, I want to be able to say middleware here is, I want to basically, I want to say allow get middleware, allow. That means in kernel, I need to come down here and add allow. Ooh, if I could spell it today. Allow middleware, done. So explain method. So yeah, I just did that. So basically in your middleware, by default, you're going to get the request and the closure for the next piece of middleware along the pipeline. You can pass through additional arguments. I'm getting a random phone call from London. Go away, spam. You can pass through additional arguments so that on here I could say, and also allow patch. So if I come to here, if I do a die and dump on methods and preview, I'm getting a get. On this one, I'm getting put and patch. It is an array. It's just gonna, you know, basically it'll turn anything into an array at that point. So I'll delete that, come back to here and update the headers that I get back. If this didn't freeze, not going to do it. So I can come back to requests, my latest request, view the request, come down to security, content type specification, or method limiting. Why is this not being picked up? The allow header informs blah, blah, blah. Let me have a look. Headers. Yes, accept. Why is it coming through as accept? I thought I set it to allow. Oh. That'll be my bad. Oops. Why don't I use I don't like Postman. I find it too busy sometimes. Come down here and look, now we're passing the method limiting. Security policies. Do I want to do CSP? Probably not right now. I've not got any other content being loaded in other than JSON I'm providing, so I'm not overly fussed, but I might add it later. Embed prevention. I mean, I could add X-frame options, but do I need it? if robots were that smart, they would know you wanted allow lame. Yeah, definitely. But that's given me, yeah, I'm failing on a secure connection. I'm not going to pass that locally. That's fine, unless I'd spin up Docker for the sake of it. At the minute, I'm failing on my secure connection, which locally I don't care about. I might look at with this, when we're doing this detection here, if we're not in a production environment, then we should probably look at not really caring too much about that one, and instead of a pass or a fail, it could just maybe be ignored. That might work. Embedding, we could probably look at content type for that one. I don't know how vital embedding would be from a API perspective, but security policies, yeah, I could probably look at that. Those on the stream, would you like me to full screen my screen, the code screen, so that you can see things better while we're here? Load time, it's all looking good. Chain of responsibility, kind of like it helps. So next thing, what do I want to do next? I want to look at, I'm not going to look at deleting profile. That can be a later thing. What I want to do now is I want to be able to look at opportunities. What opportunities are there, right? So we want to say root. We're going to prefix this under opportunities as opportunities. Then we're going to group it, and we're going to load in from the base path roots API v1 opportunities.php. So I need to create this. Here, a new PHP file, opportunities, looking good. So the first thing that I'm going to care about is listing all opportunities. Just simplify that so I can create my controller. So make a controller. We're looking at v1 opportunities index controller. We want this to be invocable, and we're going to generate a PES test. I haven't written any of the tests yet because I'm kind of just playing. So we can say the index controller here. Simplify that one and click through. This is all set up for me. This is likely going to return a collection response, which I've not yet created. So I can go create that first. That's creating that. So now I can just say that I'm going to return responsible from there. In here, we can say implements responsible. This needs to add the method. And this is going to return a Symfony response so that I can return a JSON response here. Actually, I could probably just return JSON. It's not the middleware. Delete that. Next step is to do the constructor. What we're going to pass into this response. We are going to first have a private read-only resource collection, or a different resource collection. That one. And this is going to be the data. Then we're also going to have a status. Which is going to default to just OK, which means that instead, and in here we can say that our date is this, and our status is this status value done. That will respond the way that we need it to. We're passing in a collection, a resource collection, our JSON API or a standard one, and then we just want to be able to return OK for the status by default. We then have the toResponse, so that returning this responsible object into a response by just passing in the data and the status itself. This is very familiar on a lot of things, but hey, we'll work on refactoring later if we feel we need to. So our index controller, we know we're going to want queries. So let's go create a query. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, this isn't DDD. I'm not doing DDD for this one. I don't think it's a big enough domain right now. If it gets bigger, maybe I can refactor. So what I want to do is fetch opportunities. That's it. This needs a handle method, so public function handle. We're going to fill this out in a little bit because we're probably going to pull in a package soon. So we can say public function construct. We want to inject this. We want to say that private read only. Here's our query, which means that our controller can be read only, and we can return a new collection response where the data is this query handle. Make something first, so let's say a make resource, so v1 resource, opportunity resource. So resources v1 opportunity resource v1. This is JSON API resource. So if we just open up and what opportunities. Why am I not seeing my model here? That's a position. Yeah, we'll stick to it. We'll keep the naming. So these are the sorts of things that we're going to want to return. So grab that. I'm just going to drop this in for now. So we've got a name. This name, status of this status, this type, this location, oh, I'm really not having a good day with this typing, am I? Can't invoke resolve effect. It can do, but that defeats the point of any sort of DI injection. You know, we're using dependency injection here. You want to use a constructor. You know, using invoke, that's for the request. That is for request arguments. The constructor is for loading in any classes, any dependencies. In my mind, anyway. And we're going to cast this to an array, and then these can be deleted. So what I like to do on these is just add some properties at the top. So property read only string for the name, property read position status for the status, property read position type for the type, and property read string for the location, property read string for the description, and salary, we're going to have property read salary for the salary. And what I'm going to also add is carbon interface for created app. So then what I typically do here is, when was this created? We're going to add a new date resource where we pass through the resource is this created app. And this date resource, all it does, it's a generic one that takes a carbon interface for the resource, and it says human, timestamp, and string, just so that you can display it nicely. Ooh, don't want to do that. So relationships. An opportunity could have a company, so we're going to have to create something there. Let's go look at the position and the job title. So the title is also going to have something there as well. So we can create those resources. I have to capitalize that one. So we've got opportunity, company, and job title. Company and job title. It's all going to work there. So now I should be able to new company resource, where the resource is this: when loaded, relationship I care about is company. Title, new job title resource, where the resource is this: when loaded, and the relationship is, I believe I called it title. No, I called it job title. So job title, when that is loaded. And that should all just work nicely there. So this can then use the opportunity resource collection, where the resource is going to be the query itself. Now this needs to be built, so we need to install a package. So we want to compose or require Sparsy Laravel query builder. That is all loaded, so that our query itself, navigation isn't available, blah, blah, blah. So return query builder for the subject is position query, allow includes get eloquent builder. This is going to return builder, that our controller, then all it has to do is either get or paginate. I'm going to get for now. So it includes that we want to allow. We're going to be defaulted to nothing. We can add filters later on. So we want to allow the inclusion of job title and company. And that's it. Now that has loaded. That is there. Let's go make sure it is listed. V1 opportunities. So let's go test it. A new folder. Opportunities. Make the first request. We're going to go to URL. V1 opportunities. Just need to add that slash. Do the get. Awesome. We have got one. Why does fetch artisan not fetch? Looks overly connected. What do you mean fetch action, not fetch? Please do explain. Oh, this fetch opportunities. It's a query. So the purpose of this is to allow my flexibility so that I'm fetching the opportunities and allow my controller to say how it wants to be displayed. I could either paginate here, or I could, I mean, there's no need for pagination. I've just got the one opportunity. But that's just how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. Yeah, it's building the query. Sometimes my queries will build, sometimes they won't. It kind of really depends. Sanctum auth with moving user to another folder. I'm not sure about using Sanctum right now. I might lean on it. Right now, I'm just doing something really basic. This is something that I'll refactor later on, but we'll see. So if this works right, I should be able to include the company. And there we go. We've got the company. There's the ID, and that's all we needed. Perfect. I should also be able to include the job title, which didn't work. Why did that not work? I want to include the job title. Allow the includes, that should come through to there. The position has got that named as job title. The database should have that linked under a job title. Something funky dunky is going on. We'll have a look. So includes company and job title. Let's see if it changes if I move it around. No. It's subtitle. No. No public repo. No. Typically, my streams, the repos are for any GitHub sponsors, just to kind of give them a benefit of sponsoring, I guess. So, get all opportunities. Okay, so what sort of filtering would we want to do on this endpoint, for example? Like, do we want to filter based on type? Quite likely. So we want to look at how we can filter. Allow filters. And basically duplicate this and add filters. Grab that. That shouldn't have changed anything. Good. So on here, we also want to say we want to be able to filter based on type. So let's test it and say, and type is contract. So this isn't working. Why is this not working? Let's drop the include. let's go look at the debugging on this one. Fetch opportunities. Let's do a die and dump on filters and includes. We've got type coming through. Fussy Laravel query builder. Let's go. Google Laravel query builder. Let's go have a look at filtering. So allowed filters. Want to allow filter on name and email. Disallow filters. Exact filters. Oh, wait. I need to, my bad. Let's go and remove that for now. No results. Type is full time, sorry. Full time, I should get that, yeah, that's good. Oh, my camera's disappeared. Tell you what, we'll just go full screen on me. Audio should be now back. Can you see me? Camera is died. For some reason. You should be able to hear me again now, hopefully. Let me unplug my camera. So I keep having technical. Maybe I need a new Mac. I better tell my wife I need to buy a new Mac. Bye-bye, camera. I swear this was a new camera. Should be a good camera. Maybe it's overheating in my hotbox office. Well, we don't care too much about seeing me, right? You've all seen my bald head at some point, right? Yeah, we'll just focus on my screen and my voice. You can listen to my voice. Okay, so we can now fetch all jobs. Let's go see if it's popping up on treble, requests, opportunities. Yep, that's coming through. Parameters, filtering type to full time. Not authenticated. I mean, I haven't added any headers yet, so accept application JSON. Cool. We're going to say that the connection we are going to keep alive. Speed it up. Can you share the package used for making query builder and filtering data? Yes, I can. Let me go grab that for you. I will put it in here. Here we go. Hey. Sorry, I'm having fun with these new things that I can do. So here we go. I just dropped it in the chat and it's also scrolling along the bottom of your screen. I'll stop it scrolling now because that's going to get annoying. So we want a connection to keep alive. What we also want to do is content encoding. I believe it is that the right header? Yeah, it is. Content encoding is. I want to accept gzip. I'm not doing that yet, by the way, but it's something that we will do. And we okay. I'm just gonna add the auth header. Right, is now coming through. Where is my right? Here's the screen. Right. So if I come back to my requests, this top one should now be authenticated. Yes, it is. Here's my auth key. Documentation, headers. Right, so I've got my cache control, which is good. Got date, content type. I probably do want to look at caching at some point. We don't want that. We've got all of that good stuff going on. Expect CT, transport security, referrer policy, and rate limiting. We are still doing the same other than the method limiting. So we can go back to our roots and say that the middleware, we want to allow get only. Do that again. Come back to requests. I'm going to put real time on so that I can just see it come through. Security, that should now be passed. So this is really useful for kind of coming back, double checking, and just seeing, okay, did I forget to do something? It's a medium threat level because of mostly the security at this point. Mostly the HTTPS not being in place, which is probably the biggest issue any API would have. What are the suggestions? Controller is never used. Good, delete that. So one thing I will do before I clock off and think about eating some food is, how can we test this? First, I'm going to run composer pint just to kind of clean everything up. Now let's have a quick look at static analysis. Source doesn't exist. Delete that path because it's not being used. Probably will be used in the future though, just to make you aware. Running static analysis, see what mistakes I've made. To relationship, return array, string, callable, returns array, closure, company resource. Okay, we'll have to have a look at that later. For now, I'm just going to run the tests. I failed. Cool, lots of kind of fake ones being generated here. So let's come to tests, feature, HTTP. Let's delete that example test. Let's also delete that example test and add a git keep in there. Auth login. I haven't written that test yet. I haven't written any tests yet. Have a look at testing. And let's just focus right now on this index controller here. So let's say that it what's the first thing we want to do? It can get a list of opportunities. Mark as incomplete rather than delete. Yeah, probably. So I'm going to go back through and add some stuff in a second. So we want to get JSON. The URI that we want to go to is for the index controller. We we want to assert, firstly, that the status is okay. And let's just do that. There we go. So now we can just compose a test and see how that does. One passed. Excellent. We've got one test that we care about. No, the front end of Treble is actually Livewire right now. So once we've got a list of opportunities, let's say that we want to ensure that it comes back in the right format. The response format is as expected. To achieve this, we will have to use our factory to create an opportunity first. So we'll create a position so that we can guarantee how it's going to come back. And for this, we're just going to do this part. Let me just simplify that one. And we want to insert JSON. Argument of assertable JSON. And what we can do with that is let's go back and have a look. We're going to expect a count of 1. Count 1. Let's see if that is going to work as expected. Just quickly test that. So we're failing because can't be null. So let me come down to PHP unit and let's just do that. Come back and test. Do fail now. Ooh. Okay, so let's close all the other tabs and let's come down to here. So we're not currently refreshing the database or doing anything like that. So there was a package. Let me try and remember the name. Composer require. No, not Saloon. Not Ray. What was it? I'm going to have to find that package now. Who mentioned it? Who mentioned it? It was on Twitter. It was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Not that one. Where are you? Where are you, Sam Carey? Where are you? You mentioned it. Where is he? He mentioned a really cool package and I really want to add it because it's meant to help. Where are you? Where are you, Sam? Was it in this one? No. Oh, come on. Someone must know what I'm talking about. I can't find it. Darn it. Okay, so we're going to go to a new tab. I'm going to go to Google and Planner CRM GitHub. Arrow Fast Refresh Database. That's what it's called. Right. Let's load that in. And what we need to do is just fast refresh database in here. Fast refresh. This up to import that. All good. Simplify that. Test. Now, okay, now we're failing for a different reason. No constraint failed. Positions name. So in the position factory, we must have forgotten to do something. Yes, we've forgotten to do absolutely everything. Typical. Okay, so let's set this up. This is what you get when you don't plan anything for your live streams. You just wing it. So position can go over here. We're going to say that the name is this Faker subtitle. Status, we are going to just go position status open. Type, we will just do, we're doing a very random on the type. You would have seen your face. Twitter. I'm on Twitter way too often. Why don't I use Laravel idea? Because I write Laravel in a funny way mostly. Location, I'm just going to default to remote. Description, we will just set this to a paragraph. Salary, we are going to say, let me open the database seeder. What does that do for this one? Just new salary, money off. Cool. I'm just going to grab that and do the exact same thing. For now, that is good. That's just going to default for that. The company ID can just be a company factory. Job title ID is going to be job title factory, and the user ID is just going to be a random user, which means that I should be good now. No, I'm still not. Verification status, not a valid backing. Verification status, I believe that's on company. Verified. Verification status, we're just going to set default to verified. Test again, still failing. Company's user ID. Oh, I've just not done enough, have I? I wrote most of these while I was waiting for Chinese last night, so I was somewhat distracted. There we go, now we're looking good. Yeah, using paid for things is always a problem when you're doing tutorials, because you can't expect others to purchase it or have it available. So it's going to format correctly. We have got one. Finish it off like that. And what we want to test is where, okay, maybe not that. We want to grab the first one. Get the JSON and say that we expect the first part where the type to be positions. Test again. Okay. Okay, let's try and dump quickly. What are we actually getting back before I dive too deeply into it? Frequency, salary, type, positions. Let's have a look. Now we're looking good. But etc. was in the wrong place. So positions, where, if I go, there's a position, and we want to say that where the ID is position get key. Make sure that's passing correctly. Awesome. We also want to say where the attributes dot name is name. Awesome. We're looking good so far. I don't test it all, but what I will do is make sure that things do exist. So make sure that the timestamp's been loaded, for example, because that's a separate resource. So what we know so far is that we're getting the right type, the ID is coming through correctly, the attributes are being loaded, at least one of them, and that we are able to access the timestamp itself. And that's all we care about right now because we're not including anything. So next, what you can test is it allows the inclusion of a company. I know this works, so I can test it. So do that again. What we want to do though, so the action will take parameters, and the parameter is going to be, we want to include company, for example. So we want to get the first result. Let's search JSON first. Keyboard. I swear I'm getting used to this keyboard. It's only ever when I'm screaming that I have issues. Then we want to do that. We want to get the first one. And we want to say that it has relationships company. Test it again. It's failing. So failing that they're identical. So what we will do here instead is go and dump. Go have a look at the output and see what we might need to adjust. First one has relationships, has company. Need to just etc. Is that what's causing the issue? Yes, it is. So we know that it's got that in it. So we know that's going to work. Delete that. We know we can include it. So what we're going to do, we're going to duplicate this and dive into inclusion of a job title. Includes job title. Job title. Test it again. Failed. Does not exist. So now we can debug. Say, okay, so why is this not actually being loaded? Created, that's all loading. So if we come over to here, our opportunity resource is here. Maybe it's that. Could it be that? Could it be that simple? No, we're getting an error here. So let's go have a look. So big. Let's scroll up to the error. Internal function. Job title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go have a look at this. We're going to look at Tim McDonald. JSON API, GitHub, API resources, attributes, relationships. So here is the new way to do it. So if I come and just kind of replicate that, we can say we want a public array for relationships. So public relationships. We are going to have a company resource. That's the right way around. Yep, that is correct. And then we are going to have a job title resource. We can then delete this whole method here. I'm going to keep the attributes as they are because I want to create that. I'll look into what I can do with it. Filter full time and include job title. Here I've got the job title. Fantastic. So now if we test again, we are getting the job title, which means on our test, you can drop that and make sure it passes. That is all done. So it's just me using the package wrong. It happens. So we know that we can include that. We also want to say that we want to, it can filter to a specific type of opportunity. Click that one. So we're going to want to create a couple of positions. And if we look at the position factory, by default, we're going to have a random one. So what we're going to do is we're going to say public function type, position type. This is going to return the position factory. We want to return this state. The state that we want to return is a closure where the attributes returns an array and that the type is the type passed in. So we want to be able to say create a position with this specific type. So type, position type, contract. And this one position type full time. So next is to get the JSON like this. And you want to say that there's two. You want to make sure there's two first, just to test it. That's all of that. Looking good. So you don't want to include. What we want to do is we want to filter type to position type full-time value. Just drop that down to make it a little bit neater. That's what we care about here. Caring too much about formatting here. Right, okay, so this should only return 1. In theory. Test it again. Yeah, the tests are quite slow. Don't know if it's my local machine getting a little bit old. Probably need a new one, but oops. Right, so let's get the first one, and we're going to ensure that it is a correct type. So we want to settable JSON as JSON. Then we want to get JSON, and this needs to move into here. The first thing we want to test is where the attributes dot type is going to be yep, we're all good. So we know we can filter, we know we can include. That is probably as good as we need right now from a testing perspective for this endpoint. Yeah, maybe we would want to sort later on the salary amount, but we can maybe pick that up another time. I don't want to rush into this. I'd like to take my time and make sure that things are working as expected. So what I'm going to do is add a to-do. It validates the user input correctly. To-do. It will authenticate a user. To-do. It will create a new access token for the user. And that's all we care about in that one. And then in the profile, we want to add a to-do here. So to-do, it will return the correct status code if authenticated. Then we also want to, it will return the correct status code if authenticated. My bad. To do, it will return the correct JSON payload for the user. To do, it will show the user their own information, which we know it will do. Then on an update, we want to do a to-do on it will return the correct status code if not authenticated. Do it will return the correct status code if validation fails, which is not likely to. We also want to do another to-do on this one, and we're going to say that we want to, it will update the user. We could maybe even test the middleware. It will reject the request if the no, I'm not doing anything with that one. What can we test? We want to make sure that we can update the user, and we want to make sure that that's it, because it's tied directly to the authenticated user anyway. And that is all of our tests for now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to push this up to GitHub. Let me first off just run pint add commit progress from the stream. I'm just going to push that up. As I said, that's mostly for the GitHub repos is mostly for any GitHub sponsors. So get in touch if you are interested. Otherwise, don't worry about it. We know we can get a profile. We know we can update the profile. We can get a list of opportunities. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And we will pick this up again perhaps next time. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for tuning in. Any feedback, let me know. Let's keep going and we'll carry on building this next time. Thank you all very much. Have a good day, good morning, good evening, good time, wherever it is for you. Have fun, stay awesome, and I'll catch you next time.